about small sports in a big way. Speaking of small sports that did big things, did you see what the Bucks did to the Heat this past week, Connor?
The Bucks did a thing. There was multiple layers on to how it was very notable. If those who missed it, the Bucks beat the Heat 144 to 97 earlier this week, and really had their way with the Miami Heat. Rutledge, did you get to watch that game or make any notes on it?
I didn't get to watch it, but I did see that the Bucks put up 29 three-pointers against the Heat. 12 of 13 players connected. But here's the one thing that's interesting that I want your opinion on, Connor. Giannis Antetokounmpo made no three-point shots and had 9 points all game. So, are the Bucks bad or different this year, or are the Bucks different, or are the Heat bad this year? What do you think? What's your takeaway out of that?
First off, Khalil Mack, that's my
Hi, Khalil
takeaway.
Mack. That's
Second off, as someone who has a sibling who is an older brother, let it be noted that even though Giannis didn't make a three, the defending MVP, his brother Thanasis, did come in off the bench and score. My apologies to Giannis's older brother. I'm sure I mispronounced his name, but nevertheless, if I was Giannis's older brother and came in and was one of 12 players to make a three-pointer that night and Giannis didn't, I would for sure make sure everybody knew about that. But, I think that the one thing to remember with this game, Jimmy Butler is still out. I don't know if you've been following the Jimmy Butler-less Heat. So Tyler Hero led scoring with the Heat with 23 points. So I think that is something in consideration, right? Your jerseys only count for so much, but the players in the jerseys count for a lot more. And the Bucks came off of a pretty atrocious loss to the Knicks, in which they gave up 103 points. So I think when you take those few things into consideration, there was definitely a recipe for disaster for the Heat, as well as a couple other things with the Heat I'm going to be chatting about here later in the show. But what do you think, Rutledge? Is it bad Heat? Is it good Bucks? Is it a little bit of both?
I think it's Bucks adjusting to having a better system. As we saw in the bubble earlier this year, Giannis, he can't carry Milwaukee like a LeBron James. And even LeBron James is better with people. He's not a LeBron, he's not a James Harden, or Steph Curry has to have a team around him. So I think that Milwaukee's front office finally kind of accepted who Giannis was. He's great. He's amazing. He's 7 feet tall. He's the Greek freak. But you need other pieces. So I'm going to take it that they're making some changes to make it kind of work. We'll see what happens when Jimmy Butler comes back with the Heat, right? If not, it's not going to be a Heat Pete for a big playoff run, if you will, for Miami.
The old Heat Pete.
The old Heat Pete. But someone else who's in trouble is Russell Westbrook's new home of that's a break your knees tackle. Did you see that? Let's watch this again. Bam.
That was big time.
That was a good time. Russell Westbrook and the Wizards are 0-4, including they had a legendary night where Beal put up 39 points and Russell Westbrook had a triple-double, and they lost to the Orlando Magic. This reminds me, Connor, of, for all of us out there, before Friends Stream Sports, there was just friends who talked sports. And there was 2017-2018, Russell Westbrook was carrying Oklahoma City, but James Harden won the MVP. I picked James Harden as the MVP. Connor was big on Westbrook that year. But as that goes, Connor, what are you taking away with Westbrook kind of acting like that OKC Westbrook that time, but the results are not on the court, just like the results weren't really on the court in Oklahoma City back then?
Yeah, I think that there's a few things to keep in consideration, right? I think first, right, with all the very beginning of the NBA, let's not overreact. What do they call it after week one in the NFL? Overreaction Monday. I think we're still early enough in the season, although we have a few games under our belts. We are still early enough in the season to maybe not overreact. I think eventually the Wizards in the East, should be a playoff team with those two stars of Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. So they did just run into a buzzsaw known as the Orlando Magic. But there was a really interesting article by a guy named Fred Katz with The Athletic who kind of highlighted and discussed this. And he shared some interesting stats so far this season. You know, Russell Westbrook has taken 57% of his shots as 2-point jump shots. So not layups, but just kind of 2-point floater, you know, not at the rim type of shots, which, you know, it is a lot for this day and age in the NBA. And the point of this article was that a few things led to the fact that, you know, the Wizards have an issue with spacing. The Wizards have an issue. Maybe it's because it's a new star player coming into the system, and we got a touchdown here for the Chicago Bears. Up now 7-0 on the Rutledge-led Miami Dolphins. But, you know, they don't have... So you've got Russell Westbrook, who is a definite... someone who you have to make sure you have a good system around, a lot of good players around, in a brand new system with a truncated offseason and not great three-point shooting to support Russell Westbrook, right? Russell Westbrook is going to be really good and work well when he has that support around him, but, you know, really just kind of doesn't right now. So those are some of my thoughts on the Wizards. Rutledge, anything to add?
I think that sums it up really great. Of course, we could always, early in the season, we say that they're adjusting, but I think it's going to see how he adjusts down the stretch. Westbrook, this is another home for him, so we'll see, does this one work, or does this kind of impact his legacy as someone who can put up some stats but can't close the deal? I am wanting to see if Orlando can close the deal this year, Connor. Are they, slant works every time, are they for real? Because right now the Orlando Magic have the best record in the NBA. They're undefeated, and 3 of their 4 wins are all on the road. So Connor, you're a Magic fan. I know you were at the playoffs in the 90s when Shaq and Penny Hardaway and everyone was around. How does it feel to see an undefeated Orlando Magic out there on the board?
It feels good. You know, the fact that, and let's be real, Orlando, although they haven't won a title, they have had some good teams throughout the years, right? It's not like they're always horrible. But, you know, 4-0 is actually the best start in Orlando Magic history. So don't quite know what that says about the other Magic teams, but, you know, they've got some continuity. They have 12 of their 15 players returning from last year, which yet again in a truncated offseason I think is very important. Cole Anthony has performed well as the leader of the second unit. And, you know, in regards to their victory over the Heat, you know, the NBA really, what's the old adage? The NBA doesn't really get going until, the All-Star break. So I think that there's a few things into consideration with the Orlando Magic. But, I think the ceiling is a little higher this year for the Magic to not be an 8 seed and maybe challenge for the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So how high is the ceiling for the Orlando Magic in your opinion, Rutledge?
It's going to be tough to see because over the next 30 days, Orlando plays. They have on their schedule, they have Philly, they have Dallas, they have Houston, they have Milwaukee, and they have the Celtics twice. So I want to see Orlando down the stretch. Like you said, this is the best start in history. A lot of people returning with a wacky offseason. That's a good sign for what the Magic have for them. However, as being someone who lives in the Orlando area, keeping up with the Magic through the year, we come out kind of strong, we look okay, and then the middle of the season when everyone adjusts, we do not. So we'll see if it lasts, but I'm sure you, like me, Connor, we're both holding our breath with nerves of anticipation.
And shout out to Gold Star friend of the show, Daniel J. Mogg, with the hottest of takes, Orlando Magic 2021 NBA champs.
Okay. We appreciate that, Daniel. We appreciate that. By the way, hi Daniel, thanks for coming out. But last, we want to take a time here on French Stream Sports as we quickly end our NBA talk and wish happy birthday to LeBron James. He's 36 years old. I wanted to say my favorite moment of LeBron James is when he was on the Heat, and the Heat were just, when they were cooking, and D. Wade and Chris Bosh, and we cannot stop this blitz. But huge happy birthday to LeBron James. Anything for LeBron James' birthday, Connor?
You know, I remember watching LeBron James circa Cleveland 1.0 against the Orlando Magic lose the Eastern Conference Finals, and that was not my birthday, but a great present. So you've had a good career, LeBron, but the Magic did get the better of you at least one time. So we'll call
They
it even.
did. They did. That was when he used to throw the powder all the time. He's just tired of that gimmick. So we were all believers. Oh, do we? Oh, come on. You got to catch that. Daniel says he's here for the Fitz magic. I'm here for the Fitz magic too, Daniel, but let me know when the magic shows up.